Technology has become one of the go-to explanations for all the things that ail society. We forget very quickly the good things we get from technological progress. The kind of abundance of information at your fingertips is something we just completely take for granted now. The political momentum right now is behind the forces of stasis. It's behind people who say that the open society is dangerous. It's behind people who say technology is bad. And there's a tendency to underestimate the risks of not experimenting. The dynamist mentality says we make progress one step at a time. It is a learning process. It is a process of discovery. It's a process of experimentation. There's a continuous progress that takes place by innovating, then seeing what you don't like about the innovation, then innovating to improve that and going forward that way. Rather than think about our political or cultural arguments in left-right terms, we should think about the cleavages between dynamism and stasis. Stasis is the idea that the best society is one that is either very controlled or very stable. At least in our society, we have what I call technocrats. In liberal democracies, since the early 20th century at least, technocrats have been the dominant political movers. They don't like the idea of anything happening without being regulated. They like progress as long as it looks exactly like this plan. Alternatively, dynamism is the idea that we want to look forward. We don't know where we're going necessarily, but we can better our lives through trial and error that comes from the bottom. When I wrote The Future and Its Enemies, I was trying to figure out what is progress and where does it come from? How can we talk about progress without it being progress toward a specific planned outcome? And then the question is, what do you need to have that happen? And that's my notion of dynamism. It's incremental, it's based on finding the flaws in what exists and trying to improve upon them. It's decentralized, it allows people to use their local knowledge about whatever they happen to be expert in. I don't see dynamism as having an ultimate goal. I see it as having a value that is a process, and that process is learning. Today we use the term Luddite to mean somebody who has an ideological opposition to technology. That is not the source of the term. The original Luddites were hand loom weavers. Suddenly power looms were available. The original Luddites were not ideologues. They were just guys who didn't want to lose their jobs. They engaged in political action. They rioted. They broke up power looms in factories. The interesting thing to me about the Luddites is that they were actually the beneficiaries of a previous generation of technological innovation that other people complained about. So there are two lessons in that story. One is, just because you have a job that today pays you a lot of money does not make you a better human being. It is just as susceptible to disruption from technological change as anyone else's job. And the second is that we all, en masse, will be better off over time if we allow that disruption to take place. We're not going to live in a society with no rules, whether those rules are government laws or whether they're private customs. We're going to have rules. It's better if they are general enough to allow new combinations. And what happens with a lot of regulation is that by its nature, it has to specify a lot of things. The technocratic impulse is to say, these are the boxes that things should be fit into. But we don't need to make a completely new set of complex regulations that are based on what we know in 2024 and may be obsolete in 2030. Try to keep the rules simple. Simple rules for a complex world. Trying to make improvements, trying to make discoveries, trying and sometimes failing, trying and sometimes succeeding. We need to reward curiosity, not just having the right answers. Dynamism is a competitive process. It's a process that has ample room for criticism. It's also fun. I mean, it's a system that allows for exploration, for curiosity, for play, for discovery, and those are important values that can make a huge difference in people's lives.